Always good to catch up with you, Mike. I'm starting to think you're almost as busy as Eugene.
It gets that way sometimes, yeah. We certainly got a lot on.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about, because you went to Perth and then you went from there to LA with Cam.
Yeah, actually I didn't end up going because we just had to divide our resources a little bit, but obviously Cam had a fight against a very awkward guy, a guy who's, 5'8", with the reach of a guy who's 6'5". And it wasn't a fight that you could easily look good against because the guy was just trying to hold him down. Cam spent a lot of time trying to get back up. When he did, he inflicted damage, but unfortunately not enough time on the feet against a guy who is very difficult. So a little disappointing, but I think there's more we can take from that fight, and I expect to see Cam get another shot. In the UFC, there's a lot more he has to offer there.
Going back to Perth, the three performances, how do you sum them up?
Well, the legend of Dan Hooker, the psychopath, continues to grow. And look, it was a great performance from him against a guy who's widely considered to be a boogeyman in that division. He couldn't keep Hooker down. And Dan really beat him up a lot on the feet. He showed his usual toughness. He took a couple of shots. He sustained a cut, but he really took Gamrot to task. I don't think there was any question about that third round. Gamrot would have been in real trouble if this one had gone to 4 and 5. So I think that was a great fight from Dan. Then obviously Kai, he was definitive against Erceg, and Erceg is a great fighter. We shouldn't underestimate him just because Kai clipped him, but Kai showed a few new wrinkles to his game, which will leave other people to try and work out. But Erceg couldn't get off, he couldn't get his jab off, he couldn't do the things that he likes to do to set up what is a very good set of attacking weapons. And as we know, Kai has one punch power. He froze him and then he stopped him and put him to sleep, and that was a superb performance.
And on to the big one, Izzy and Drickus.
Yeah, look, that was a fight I felt we were in control of at times. I think we were probably, that was probably a fight we let get away. There were some mistakes made. Drickus, we know, is very well conditioned, and I said before the fight, he's very well conditioned. He's a guy who can look like he's out of the fight, but he will find a way to win. And you're dealing with a guy who has a great mentality, and he's very good at taking the back. And it was something else I pointed out pre-fight. He's a guy who, if you give him your neck, will take that opportunity. Izzy made a mistake. Drickus, managed to clip him with some shots. Some people say Izzy was rocked. That's bullshit. But he was clipped, and he was off balance, and he made a mistake, I think, from fatigue. But you've got to credit Drickus for his ability to stay in the fight, to sustain punishment, and he did sustain punishment, and take his opportunity when it presented himself. He's stepped up at every level. He's found ways to win, so he's a champ. But that's a fight I think we can come back to. I think we have to make a couple of adjustments and, win a couple of fights, and, don't be surprised if we're back in gold.
Those are the established guys, but we've got a couple more guys in the next couple of weeks who've got the opportunity to join those fellas on the UFC circuit. And first up, Navajo Sterling.
Yeah, Navajo Sterling, I forget the guy's first name, a chap by the name of Latu. He's primarily a stand-up fighter, dangerous, power puncher. He's fought up at heavyweight and light heavyweight, so that's a fight that Nav's taken on shorter notice. His fight wasn't supposed to be for a couple more weeks, so now he's stepped up. He's going to have to weight cut early, but you get yourself in a position where you can take these opportunities. So we look to see Nav doing well. We can probably hear him still hitting the pads out there as we speak. So he'll be ready for that fight. I think the guy is dangerous, but it's not a look we haven't come across before. So while I wouldn't say we would underestimate him, I'd say we are familiar with his style. It's reasonably orthodox, which does make it easier to prepare for a short notice fight.
And of course, the week after that, we've got Aaron Toe.
Yeah, well, he's up against a pretty highly rated fighter, Elijah Smith, who's a big puncher. He's long and he's also a good wrestler, and that's a tough fight for Toes him up. I'm interested in that fight. Again, Aaron's had a couple of opponent changes, so I think we're more than capable of getting the upset there. But it looks like he's a guy who's favoured. We'd probably be the underdog in that fight, which is great. We're always underdogs, if you know what I mean. That's the Kiwi mentality. So we'll make that work. And again, difficult fight. He's got some skills. He's got some power. He's got good wrestling. But so do we. So let's see how that one shapes out.
Hemi Ahio is going to get the boxing side off to a starter here in a couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, so I'm commentating that. So that's interesting. Being back in the commentary chair. That's against Django. Of course, Django was the guy who took Hemi's undefeated record. So this is a rematch. He's a guy who sits on the chest, he punches on the inside, he crowds you, he doesn't give you room to breathe. So you've got two guys who are smaller heavyweights in the division. Hemi has more power. Django's quite slick on the inside. He's got a far better defensive game than people think. Even though, Joe Parker managed to spark him out, different style, different fight. But Hemi has to be motivated for this fight because, he went in with a few things not quite right. Coming into his last fight, but you have to take the advantages, and if you're a better fighter, you should be able to overcome those obstacles. So Django, he won that fight, he got the upset, and now we've got the opportunity to rewrite that script, and Hemi needs a good performance. So let's see that. He's coming off that knockout victory in his last fight, but we really need him to step up a game, and take advantage of perhaps some more lucrative fights in the heavyweight division. But yeah, Django is not an easy beat.
Just talk about yourself for a little bit, because you're talking about sitting in the commentary chair again. You've got plenty of hats. What are we going to see from you for the rest of the year?
Oh, look, there's plenty on. There's MMA, there's boxing, there's Arsenal X. So I've got a lot of different hats, but that's all part of it. Particularly in the New Zealand game. I enjoy being part of that scene and promoting it, and it's good to be able to sort of share some of that knowledge and analysis. Look, there's worse jobs in the world, as you know, Tony, than getting paid to watch a sport you'd be watching anyway and have no one tell you to shut up while you're watching it. It's great. So, or you may be doing that back at home, but I don't get a toss. So it's a privilege to be able to call it, and and have the best seats in the house.
Just before we go too, because you've taken on another job, ALTA.
Yeah, so obviously involved with ALTA and helping out with the ALTA Warrior program in New Zealand and introducing that on a wider scale. Been very successful for CKB, obviously, and also Shuriken over on the North Shore. Jason Vorster has got his program about to start again. I mean, it's a superb program. It's kind of like the bucket list, or the once in a lifetime opportunity to get to do MMA, to train like an elite, MMA athlete, and to make that walk in the cage tick something off in your life, and it'll really change people's lives. And we've seen that with what's happened at City Kickboxing in Shuriken. So if we can use that to, I guess, one, change people's lives, and two, develop the knowledge and the fan base of MMA at a more grassroots level across New Zealand, and make us even more mainstream than we've become. It's great, and you have to really firmly believe in the program. Taking someone from their office to the cage, or from maybe you're a stay-at-home mum, you go to the cage. Maybe you're working on a site. You get your opportunity to make that walk once, and it's like your world title, to go through that process and change yourself, change your life, change yourself, discover things about you didn't know. And that is what the warrior program is all about. Waking your inner warrior, waking your inner spirit, and discovering what you're capable of, changing your life.
You've changed many people's lives in the past, and I'm sure you will in the future.
All right, buddy.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.